Hi, my name is Sophie. I'm 17 years old. I'm telling you this story in order to talk to somebody, hoping that this way I will feel better. Not very long ago, my life was ruined because of my parents. I'm sure that many of you think you could have said the same thing, but my story is a little more complicated. The people that crush my dreams are not related to me. They are my adoptive parents. Now, you might ask yourself a question. Why would somebody adopt a stranger into their family and then treat them badly? Honestly, I don't know. I really trusted these people, but just listen to how it all began. It all started on my birthday, the very, very first. I started at the parking lot near the back entry to a big city hospital. As the video security camera shot it, it was a tall and slender figure, tightly covered in a hooded cloak, who brought me there. And that this woman, it seemed to be a woman, but the camera could not get a good image of her face, so we cannot say for sure. However, she carefully placed me near the entrance and left. This was the part that my biological parents played in my life. The end. The parcel with the baby, meaning me, was quickly discovered by some of the nurses, who later gave me my name. After that, my life as a wanderer began, and it lasted for as long as 14 years. In fact, there are many kids like me, but as with every kid who's always missed out on parental love, I thought that I was the most unhappy of them all, or maybe the biggest loser. It just happened that none of my foster parents wanted to take full guardianship of me. No, as a whole, I do not regret the time that I've spent with different people, except for maybe one couple who had a pretty unhealthy lifestyle. I stayed with them for a very short time and was taken away by social workers, and I think that was a godsend. So I think that in 14 years, I changed 6 foster families. Some of them wanted to just help a kid who had found themselves in a difficult situation, and at least for some time, some of them were really thinking of adopting me, but had to abandon these plans due to some life circumstances. Anyway, I changed so many guardians that I learned to avoid any emotional attachment to them, even though deep inside my heart, I wanted to hope that somebody would finally come and become my real parent. And then Mr. and Mrs. Simmons appeared in my life. They are a very likable couple in their 40s, and they were interested in adopting me. The Simmons owned some small legal services agency. They were neither rich nor poor. They lived in a big, spacious, and beautiful house, and they also had their own daughter, Jen, who was almost my age. Don't you agree that all this sounds like a fairy tale? I could have a real family, a real house, and even a sister who could have become my best friend. What a pity that reality rarely fulfills our dreams. The first 3 years of my life with this family were more or less normal. I had my own room. I did not really need anything, but I did not have emotional ties with Mr. and Mrs. Simmons. They turned out to be very calm and even indifferent people. They paid a lot of attention to their work and their house, but not at all interested in forming a deeper relationship with me or understanding my emotions and feelings. But I think that real parents seem to be interested in these things. As a result, the Simmons did not even know that I had a great dream until it was too late. You see, I had decided quite a while ago which profession I wanted to choose. I think I was 11 years old at the time when one of my foster parents bought me my first smartphone with a decent camera. From that, my passion for photography grew. I will not bore you with all the details. I will only say that since that time, I have spent all my money in order to get a better camera or to upgrade a lens. My love for photography was not limited to selfies or an Instagram profile. For me, it was art. I was dreaming that I would become a professional photographer, that I would take real artsy pictures, and that I would open my own exhibitions in the best centers around the world. But in order for my dreams to come true, I had to not only polish my professional skills, but I also had to study a lot. And I chose a perfect college for myself. This college is very very prestigious, and very expensive. It was a private college, and there were no quotas for kids like me, so I had to have the best grades to get in there. And believe me, I tried very hard. I fought furiously for every grade I got at school, like a lioness. I made a perfect collection of my work for my portfolio, and I worked toward my dream with all my strength. And I did not get good enough grades for the scholarship. But the admission office liked my portfolio very much, so they were happy to admit me. As soon as my parents paid for the first semester, I had to ask the Simmons for help. Mr. and Mrs. Simmons called for a family meeting, and there the most interesting thing was revealed. Jen was finishing school at the same time that I was, and was also applying to college, medical school. And it turned out that her grades did not qualify her for a scholarship either. I knew nothing about this because Jen and I barely talked. But the Simmons, of course, knew everything about their daughter, and they had an answer for me well in advance. My foster parents declared that they could not pay for college for both Jen and me. Therefore, they would stick to moral and rational reasons. And they explained that a doctor is a socially important, prestigious, and well-paid profession, and Jen chose her occupation wisely. As for a photographer, no. The Simmons told me that if I was dreaming about a beautiful and reckless art society life, then I had to get there without any help, and all the rest was just spending money, which they didn't really have a lot of. So they agreed to pay for college for Jen, and I had to either win a scholarship or go to work in order to pay tuition. I was shocked by their reaction. I tried to explain to the Simmons how important it was for me. I almost begged them to give me the money. It was possibly the only chance I had in my life. But Mr. and Mrs. Simmons were adamant about their decision. You know, I didn't believe a single word they said. I was totally sure that if I was their real daughter and Jen wasn't, that they would have paid for my education in any field, and they simply sacrificed my dream for the good of their own child. But I won't give up. I will soon turn 18, and I will leave this house that still hasn't become a home to me in order to succeed by myself. As you've heard, it's not just your biological parents, but also your adoptive parents that can be terrible. Please like my story to support me, and tell us in the comments what you think about what the Simmons have done.